Yeah, man, it's admirable. I truly love it. And those books, those two books on each side of your head, American
Yeah,
Made,
yeah.
and what's the other one called? Clinton and the CIA conspiracies.
Clinton, Bush, and CIA conspiracies from the boys on the tracks of Jeffrey Epstein.
Now, right today is this morning, who was arrested by the FBI?
Oh my goodness, we never thought it would happen, just like
Never.
it's happened. Prince Andrew's partner in crime, Ghislaine Maxwell.
Also, the Madame, you call her a Madame to Jeffrey Epstein.
Not just the chief procurer and co-conspirator, but also someone who participated in assaulting the kids.
Now, what does this mean for her to be arrested by the FBI today?
It's huge because if it's not getting swept under the carpet and it's a conspiracy case like this, I looked at the indictment today. I did a 1 hour video whereby I read the indictment out on YouTube on a live stream. And she has got 6 charges. The last 2 are perjury, which aren't that significant, but the first 4 are hugely significant. Trafficking kids for sexual abuse and participating in the abuse. She's facing multiple life sentences. So the only way she's going to get out of this situation now is if she turns snitch and coughs up some big names.
So how long before she gets suicided?
That's it. She presents the exact same risk now to the elites who suicided Epstein that Epstein presented.
But if she gets whacked, that is just too obvious.
Well, they don't care because it ends there, doesn't it?
Oh my God.
It ends there. If she goes and names Bill Clinton and Prince Andrew in a court trial, government agencies have to take action if she says they are having sex with kids. It can't get to that. It's got to be stopped.
Jesus Christ, this shit gives me chills, man. It is so fucking scary.
It's great because the Epstein case, all of a sudden, there was no news for days. And then, bam, they grab her, the chief procurer.
No, she's close with the CIA, right? She knows people in the CIA, right?
She's got connections.
So do you think she knew this was coming?
If you go back to the history of Robert Maxwell, he had connections with all the intelligence agencies. He was a far bigger player than Epstein or Ghislaine. But once you become a liability, they take you out.
Right.
He was off the Canary Islands on his yacht, the Lady Ghislaine, thinking that some money was forthcoming from a certain country and an intelligence agency. And they had a hit squad in dinghies below the radar. He's up on deck. They come up. They were planning it. Bam, get him in the neck with a syringe with a poison that's untraceable. That's how they took him out. And it's still debated to this day how he died. But in the assassination of Robert Maxwell, and I have interviewed Uri Ben-Menashe, who's prominent in that, it looks like that's what went down. So when these people, even though they've got all these connections in the world, and Maxwell, he could sit down with the president of Russia, president of Israel, president of America, with MI5, the CIA, MI6, the Mossad, you name it.
Right.
When these people become a liability, they've got to go. So she can have all the connections in the world, but once you become that liability, you've got to go.
I know you watched the Epstein documentary on Netflix, Filthy Rich.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on that overall?
Man, I was in tears watching the victims.
Yeah, because you interviewed a lot of those women.
I've interviewed Maria Farmer, and I've had interactions with others online. And just to hear the judge say that, they were human beings and they were victims, they weren't child prostitutes and criminalized, which is what Dershowitz and his crew tried to do to them, and Acosta, absolutely disgusting people. Just to see that the happiness in them to be acknowledged as human beings. And today, this must be a huge day for them. I've been watching all day on Twitter to see if Maria or Virginia have tweeted yet, because they must be inundated right now. This is a result of their bravery, what has happened, that they've not dropped this case and they've kept going no matter what. Maria Farmer had private detectives outside of her house shining lights in the middle of the night, threatening her life. One of the bodyguards at Wexner property was psyching himself up to kill her, and she managed to get out of that situation. The things that these women went through is proper horror movie stuff.
Yeah.
So, I urge people all over the world to go on Twitter and support Virginia and Maria Farmer and send them a tweet and follow them.
I wanted to touch a little bit on your book about Pablo Escobar and George Bush. George Sr., right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So who was Barry Seal?
Okay, so my book, American Made, is about the CIA cocaine flying pilot Barry Seal. There was also a movie starring Tom Cruise, which was a complete whitewash. It did show some things, as they allow more to be shown, but a whitewash about the more hardcore stuff. So the subtitle is Who Killed Barry Seal? The George H.W. Bush or Pablo Escobar?
Okay, so who killed him? Was it Pablo or was it George Bush?
All right, so you've got Barry Seal flying in cocaine to Arkansas. You've got this operation is run by George H.W. Bush and Oliver North with full national security CIA protection. The state of Arkansas is run by then Governor Bill Clinton, so he's providing the police, state police, to protect it. And it all went wrong when two kids were found dead on railroad tracks. And the first chapter, there's the stories of four people interweave throughout this book.
Okay.
And Linda Ives is the mum of Kevin Ives, who was one of the boys on the tracks.
Okay.
Now, evil Bill Clinton had a corrupt medical examiner who basically would give him whatever verdict, method of death he required. So the method of death on these two boys, it was ruled that they'd got so high on weed, they'd gone into a psychedelic trance and lay down side by side on the railroad tracks, and the train had run over them. Well, actually, they'd seen the drug drop, and the bodyguards had seen the kids, and the kids were snuffed out. That's what really happened. And Linda Ives has been trying to get justice from Bill Clinton to this day, and he won't even acknowledge her.
And how do you know this? Like, how can you confidently say this?
Because Charlene Wilson was there at the scene, and Dan Lasseter, she was a drug addicted lady who was being used by these players. Dan Lasseter was a guy who was pretending to be Dr. Lasseter, picking up medical organs. Terry Reid wrote a book called Compromised. He was working with Barry Seal. He didn't know about the coke until later when he got moved to Mexico after Barry Seal died. But Terry Reid and other pilots have all come out and said that they were bringing the coke in. And Terry Reid, he's got a book called Compromised. It's huge, and this is a CIA guy, and he details the whole thing. So it's not from conspiracy theorists. All my information is from people who were arrested, people who were cops protecting the Clintons, and people who were working for the CIA.
And all these people's stories correlate with each other.
Absolutely, because it's the truth. I believe it 100%. And even the public, 10, 20 years ago, if you told the public that the US federal government was waging a war on drugs while bringing the cocaine in that spawned the crack epidemic, you were called a conspiracy theorist.
Oh, 100%.
But now everybody accepts that the war in Nicaragua was being financed by cocaine. And George H.W. Bush and Oliver North were running that. People fully accept that now.
Okay, so Barry Seal was flying in cocaine.
Yeah.
To where?
To Arkansas, and weapons back down to Nicaragua.
While Bill Clinton was the governor of Arkansas.
Yeah. And Bill Clinton was hooked on cocaine himself. His brother Roger was hooked on coke and got arrested in a cocaine deal. And the undercover cop recorded him saying, "Some of this is for Bill. He's got a nose like a vacuum cleaner."
There's a video recording of Roger Clinton after he's been arrested saying a bunch of crazy expletives and talking about
all racial words and expletives. Yeah, that's what those guys were like. They get on TV and say they're fighting the war on drugs, and behind the scenes, they are running the drugs and they're locking up all the lowest level users to make profits off it. This is how psychopathic and evil these people are. Clinton ended up hospitalized because of nasal damage from all the coke he was doing. Hillary went down the hospital, threatened all the staff.
Deviated septum, right?
Yeah, and said to all the staff, any of this comes out, you are ruined. Your careers are over. I will wipe the floor with you. All the women that Clinton was having sex with, some consensual, some not. Lawsuits were settled. Hillary found out where all those women were, and they were stalked, pets were murdered, and they were threatened never ever to say a single thing. Not because she was jealous. She was just supporting his rise to power because their rise to power was together.